everybody, hope you are all having a fantastic day. My name is Zach and welcome to the day 153 recap of the 2016-2017 NBA season, where we talk about everything that went on in the previous day in the world of basketball. With that being said though, we do have quite a bit to cover today, so without further delay, let the day 153 recap begin. How many of you guys remember Omer Asik? I'm guessing a lot of you guys probably forgot about Omer Asik, and if you do remember him, it was probably back in the 2012-2013 NBA season when he was playing for the Houston Rockets, when he was actually a pretty serviceable center for the Houston Rockets, averaging 10 points and 11 rebounds per game. Things were looking up for him. He was a pretty good young big man. And then after that season though, things started to go downhill, to the point where this season he was averaging 2 points and 5 rebounds per game for the New Orleans Pelicans. However, his downhill progression didn't stop there, as now Omer Asik is basically unrecognizable. And I don't mean as just a player, I mean as a human. Omer Asik is almost unrecognizable. This is what Omer Asik looks like right now.
He needs some milk.
As you can see, he has lost a lot of weight. Actually, not a lot of weight. He's lost all of his weight. I guess he actually got some type of bacterial infection over the All-Star break in Mexico, which has caused him to lose all of his weight. And as you guys can probably guess, he will be out for the remainder of the season because, let's be honest, one gust of wind and this man will never be seen again. Imagine what trying to bang in the post with 7 foot, 250-pound big men in the NBA would do to him. NBA teams using their Twitter accounts for savage reasons doesn't happen too much nowadays, but if it does, it's most likely going to involve the Sacramento Kings.
Cleveland! This is for you!
Before last night, at least, they were the kings of the NBA social media. But like I said, that was before last night, and they still probably do have the crown, but the Rockets Twitter account might actually be coming to challenge them for that crown. Because after the showdown of Russell Westbrook and James Harden last night, the Rockets Twitter account released this: more wins, triple doubles are just a number. I don't think I've ever seen such a direct shot at a certain player from another NBA team's Twitter page. So just about every single person in the NBA has given their thoughts on players resting. Most of them saying that they understand why the fans in the league are upset, but it's just part of the game now. Resting players is just something we're gonna have to get used to. But there is a player out there that actually thinks the opposite of this. There's a player out there that despises players resting, and that player is Patrick Beverley, as he came out yesterday and said this:
I think that that's a disgrace to this league. I think that fans deserve better. I can care less if coaches ask players to rest or not. It's up to you to play or not. And if you don't, then you're disrespecting the game. And I don't believe in disrespecting the game, because it was a time where I wasn't playing in the NBA and I was trying to get here. So me resting is, I feel like it's disrespecting me, disrespecting the name on the front of the jersey, and disrespecting the name on the back of the jersey.
That's some pretty passionate words there, and I love Patrick Beverley for that. I wholeheartedly see what he's saying. Disrespecting to this league, disrespecting the name on the front and the back of the jersey. And you see what he's saying here, that everyone in the league had to work really hard to get to where they're at. This was their dream. And now that they're in the NBA, they should want to go out there every night and compete their hardest. You 100% have to understand his side of the argument, but then there's of course the other side too. Some players dream about winning NBA championships. So in order to do that, they give themselves any extra rest they can get to make sure their body is in top notch for the season going forward, for the postseason, for the playoffs. It's a topic that's never going to die. There is no right answer, there is no wrong answer, whether you think players should be resting or players shouldn't be resting. Which does lead us to the question of the day. What side are you on? Do you agree with Beverley that it's disrespectful to the game, or do you side with the players and coaches saying that it's their job to win a championship, so they rest to give themselves a better chance? For me personally, I don't necessarily side with resting players, but I do understand why they do it, and I also understand that nothing's really going to be done about it. This is just something that, for better or for worse, we're gonna have to get used to going forward. But let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. And that about wraps up all the news from last night. Now let's jump straight into the games. James Harden versus Russell Westbrook, two players having extraordinary seasons, and the Rockets were hot basically the entire game. And once the Rockets get hot, it typically spells doom for the other team. James Harden and the rest of the Houston Rockets scored 37 points in the first quarter, and they were just warming up. They then dropped 42 in the second and 34 in the third. They had 113 points going into the fourth quarter. Easily one of the most dangerous offenses the NBA has ever seen. They did return to normal in the fourth, though, only scoring 24. But by then, it was too late for OKC, as the Rockets get the 137-125 win. Despite Russell Westbrook's near 40-point triple-double of 39 points, 13 assists, and 11 rebounds. And for Houston, James Harden wasn't even the leading scorer. Heck, he wasn't even the second or third leading scorer, but the fourth. Doesn't mean he wasn't an impact to their win though, as he was still the perfect maestro to Houston's offense, scoring 22 points to go along with 12 assists. And he realized that when just about every single one of your teammates is hot, it's probably best to just get them the ball and move out the way. And that includes Lou Williams. Man was straight cooking off the bench with 31 points on 11 of 15 shooting, including 7 of 8 from deep, as the Rockets shot better than 50% from beyond the arc last night. I mean, when the Rockets are that hot, the fact that the Thunder only lost by 12 is impressive. A huge game for the Boston Celtics last night and in terms of importance. With a win over the Miami Heat, the Celtics could tie the Cavaliers for the #1 seed in the Eastern Conference, but of course it wouldn't be easy. Miami has been one of the best teams in the NBA for the past third of the season, and it was a hard-fought back-and-forth battle the entire way, except Boston's determination to eventually get that #1 seed won out as they get the 112-108 win. Isaiah Thomas scored 30 points, including 20 in the second half, while Jay Crowder added 25 points and 6 rebounds. The Celtics do struggle with big men though, so you could expect Whiteside to have himself a night, and he did with 19 points and 15 rebounds, while Tyler Johnson also at 24 off the bench. And of course, the Celtics are now tied with the Cavaliers for the #1 record in the Eastern Conference. For the sake of Hawks fans everywhere, please, Paul Millsap, please get better soon. I know it must have been painful you to sit on the sidelines and watch your team get throttled by Brooklyn. Yep, the Nets win again. They're low-key trying to sabotage Boston's chances of getting that #1 pick in this year's draft. 107-92 was the final score. Brook Lopez with 23 points and 7 rebounds, and Jeremy Lin had 19 points and 8 assists. Dwight Howard had 19 points and 16 rebounds, and Dennis Schroeder had 24 points and 8 assists for Atlanta, who have lost their last 7 games. After a quality win over the Jazz on Saturday, the Clippers had a chance to tie Utah in the standings for the 4 seed with a win over the Kings. And heading into the fourth quarter, it seemed like that was going to be the case as they had a pretty comfortable 11-point lead. Well, let's just say things started to go downhill for the Clippers in the final period. Buddy Hield hitting back-to-back threes within 10 seconds, just everything started to go wrong, with the climax of their fall being Willie Cauley-Stein making a layup with 1 second left to give the Kings the lead and the win over LA. Final score, Kings 98, Clippers 97. Darren Collison had 19 for Sacramento, and Buddy Hield had 15 points and 7 rebounds. Chris Paul had 17 points and 9 assists for the Clippers. The Warriors trying to tie the season series at 2 games apiece with the Memphis Grizzlies. Of course, the Golden State Warriors are still without Kevin Durant, and the Grizzlies were down a pretty good player too in Marc Gasol as he sat out with a sore left foot. And this was still a very competitive game throughout the first 3 quarters at least, no team able to gain any separation from each other. That was until the fourth quarter when Memphis went ice cold from the field, missing 15 of their first 17 attempts and only scored 13 points. Final score 106-94. Golden State takes the win. Klay Thompson with the big second half of the Warriors as he scored 21 of his 31 points, and Steph Curry had 21 points, 11 assists, and 4 steals. Mike Conley was out there getting buckets for Memphis though. He had 29 points. DeMarcus Cousins had to sit this one out with a sore ankle, but that's okay when you have another dominant big man like Anthony Davis, as Anthony Davis often relishes the chance to try and prove to young big men who is the alpha male. And he did it again last night, leading the Pelicans over the Nuggets in the blowout 115-90 win. Anthony Davis with 31 points and 15 rebounds, while Jokic had one of his worst games in a while with 8 points and 13 rebounds. For the Blazers, all of their work over these past 15 or so games of actually playing good basketball could pay off with a win and get them to the 8th seed, since the Nuggets lost to the Pelicans last night. And they weren't about to miss this opportunity, because while it wasn't the prettiest game for Portland, I mean, they looked a bit tired coming off a game the night before, they made sure that they gave it everything they had left in order to get the 97-81 win over LA. Damian Lillard led the charge with 22 points, 7 rebounds, and 5 assists, while Allen Crabbe chipped in 18 off the bench. D'Angelo Russell had 22 for LA, and the Blazers are now the 8th seed in the West due to their tiebreakers with the Nuggets. With the win, the Bucks could officially break their tie and move into the 5th seed over the Atlanta Hawks. With a loss, well, they just have to wait till the next game and try again. For the Bulls though, it's a different story. If they want to make the playoffs, they have to win. period, and keep winning. And they did win, thanks to another hot shooting performance from Nikola Mirotic. Mirotic tied a season high with 28 points on 11 of 14 shooting from the field, and Jimmy Butler only scored 20 points, but he also dished out a career high 14 assists in the Bulls' 109-104 win. Rajon Rondo was also 1 rebound and 1 assist shy of a triple-double with 19 points, 9 rebounds, and 9 assists. Giannis Antetokounmpo had 22 points and 8 rebounds for the Bucks. Speaking of the Hawks and the Bucks being tied for the 5th seed in the East, with a win over the Sixers, the Pacers are now in the same boat. It might not be the most competitive in terms of championship contenders, but in terms of playoff seeding, the East is insane. 107-94 was the final score. Paul George led Indy like usual with 21 points, including scoring 9 in the third to go along with 8 rebounds. And Miles Turner is a young player that is often forgotten about. He had 17 points and 16 rebounds and 2 blocks. All eyes on Devin Booker to see how he performs after his historic 70-point performance against the Celtics. And let's be real here, if you were expecting another 70-point game or anything close to it,
congratulations, you played yourself.
He returned back to the regular D-Book last night, which isn't bad or anything, just not, insane. He had 23 points and 5 assists, but just like during his 70-point game, the Suns had to walk away holding the L. 120-106 was the final score, with the Hornets coming out on top thanks to Kemba Walker and his 31 points and 9 assists, while Nick Batum had 18 points, 10 assists, and 6 rebounds. Yesterday, with a total of 917 votes, you guys selected John Wall and his 37 points and 11 assists as your player of the day. And here are today's nominees. You have James Harden and his 22 points, 12 assists, and 5 rebounds. Jimmy Butler and his 20 points and career high 14 assists. Kemba Walker and his 31 points and 9 assists. Anthony Davis and his 31 points and 15 rebounds. Isaiah Thomas and his 30 points. Or Stephen Curry and his 21 points, 11 assists, and 4 steals. You guys can go vote for the player of the day right now by following the straw poll link down in the description box below. Yesterday, I asked you guys whether or not there should be co-MVPs after Alvin Gentry came out to the media and said that he believes there should be a co-MVP tie between James Harden and Russell Westbrook. And your response to the idea was overwhelmingly negative. Darius23 saying they need to add another award called Best Player of the Year because MVP is most valuable. So you're valuable to your team by doing crazy stuff to win games. Harden is doing that, but Westbrook is the best player this year. But he isn't as valuable to OKC as Harden is to Houston. Now that's an interesting thought, but I do have a couple of problems with this. The first being the fact that if there's 2 awards, that once again takes away kind of from the value of the MVP award. If there's 2 awards given out, the more awards given out for like best performance and stuff, that kind of depreciates the value of the original award to the point where it might not mean as much. Especially since when players win the MVP award, they want to feel like they were the best player in the league that year. However, if you give them the MVP award and then you give someone else the best player award, what's the point of the MVP award? They don't feel like they're the best player in the league because the other guy was chosen as the best player in the league. And then I'd also beg to differ. I think Russell Westbrook is just as valuable to the Thunder as Harden is to the Rockets. And Raptors B-Ball 10 saying there could be co-MVPs. Okay, just listen. There will be one overall MVP, but there will be an Eastern Conference MVP and a Western Conference MVP. Say that Harden wins the Western Conference MVP and then LeBron wins the Eastern Conference MVP. Then you vote Harden versus LeBron. So basically what this means is it boils down to 2 players. The media selects 2 players for fans to vote to win the MVP, but I don't necessarily like this idea just because of fan bias. While this year, I think most people would agree that Harden would deserve to win the MVP over LeBron, but in years to come, I think fan bias will play too big of a role. And that about wraps up all the action for the day 153 recap of the 2016-2017 NBA season. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, don't forget to leave a like on it and subscribe if you haven't already for more daily NBA videos. And until next time, keep getting the buckets, Team SDC, and I'm out of here. Peace!